welcome back to the FOKLZ podcast with Forder and Reece Wockles. Tonight we will touch on the two games from Arsenal. We will also do a little tier list. So we're going to be choosing players from our current squad and thinking about where we think they will kind of lie for the next season. Are they going to be starters? Are they going to be sold? Just terminate the contract, some of them. How are you, Reece? How are you feeling, mate?
I'm good. Good to be here again. This tier list is going to maybe cause some controversy, but hopefully it'll go all right. That's the main thing.
Yeah, hopefully by the end of this, we're not arguing and just like, that's the end of the podcast. That's it. Done. I am going to say as well, I'm loving the Poland shirt.
Yep, for big old Kivior for getting his first goal of the season yesterday. Got to represent, so...
in one of the worst matches we've had all season.
Not for Kivior, though. That guy played all right.
That's true. Yeah, that is true. Just generally, like, sum up, right? Ipswich and then the Palace game.
Ipswich are an awful team that should be never, ever again in the Premier League. I have no reason to say this. No bias at all. But, we just taught them how to play football a little bit. And also, I do want to say that, like, that is two teams in a row that we have played where I just think the fans are stupid of the other team. Like, I know Arsenal fans could be whatever,
God, yeah.
But the bad stuff I saw about Ipswich fans, like, because I know a lot of Ipswich fans, I was talking to them, and the bad stuff they've said about Arsenal being like crybabies and all this. I'm like, you guys were literally just kicking us. Like, what did you expect? Like, I don't know. So Ipswich got schooled, and I think we did some really interesting things with Trossard in that game, which we hopefully will see against PSG. And then I do think we were quite poor against Brentford. I think I don't even think like
did you say against Brentford?
Wait, Brentford. Who did we play? Crystal Palace.
Palace. It was that bad.
We weren't that great against Brentford. All the draws are merging into one. That's the problem.
Yeah.
But Palace, yeah, we weren't very good. But I think it was more of an effort problem than like an Arteta's fault. I don't think it's Arteta's fault. I think the team did not turn up because focus is clearly on PSG.
Yeah, like, I mean, I don't really want to single people out. I'm going to, though. But it's like, even like Bukayo Saka. I'm not saying he had a poor game, but there are times where he kind of stood up the fullback and went, I'm going to turn back and pass. and he's obviously not going to do that against PSG. But I think a lot of the players that one eye... Yeah, go on.
No, I do want to give a shout out to one player. Of course, against Ipswich, coming on for his Premier League debut is Butler on a Denchi, and he had one touch, and it was a shot on target, which we scored from the corner. So, I mean, if that's your only ever touch in Premier League history, what a contribution.
Yeah, that is true. Do you know what? That might take him above Tomiyasu.
It does. Because it was on, I literally did a shots thing the other day about Trossard, and I was like, oh no, Butler on a Gine's top now. I was like, yes, they threw it into the stand. He played the same minutes as Tomiyasu as well, but his one was on target and Tomiyasu's wasn't. So there's another one to throw in it all.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, mate. I do apologise. You've just given him his flowers and then just gone, you've ruined my video.
Yeah, because he upset me. I just remembered that.
No, I mean, like, in all, there were some good performances against Palace. I think Trossard was actually really good. Kivior kind of got by. He wasn't fantastic. He was all right. I personally, it's interesting looking at the conversation around Odegaard at the moment, because some people are really, really pleased with his performance. Other people, like me, not so much. Just what did you think of his performance? And be honest, you don't have to say no because I'm here or...
No, it's one of them games where, like, he had what I like to call a Thomas Partey game, where I actually think he did some really good work. Like, I think there was, two chances that we should have scored in the second half where Odegaard actually does really good, like, build-up play, creates it really well, and then we just don't score it through, Martinelli not making the right decision, which is, not his fault, fair enough. And there was also one move that we did. It was this really good free-flowing move, and we passed it back into the middle, and he shot, and then it just hit Reece. And I was like, well, that is not Odegaard's fault. Like, that was a good, he did well there. But there's also times where he is just, he was in the pocket a lot, and he was getting kind of, physically bullied a lot. And he was just getting pushed off the ball. And I was just yeah. And it was just one of the games where he did some good stuff, did some bad. It's not the worst performance he's had of the season. I mean, I don't know if that's a great thing to say, to be honest, but I don't know. I kind of in this game, out of all of the games I've watched him, I felt sorry for him more than I have in others.
Yeah.
So I'll
I
give
mean,
him that.
I think he'll perform pretty well against PSG. But
I hope
I
so.
think if we then go against, say, if we got past PSG and then in the final against the Barca, I think he'll be all right. I think against an Inter, he's going to struggle. Like
Yeah.
it's really horrible. I put a tweet out earlier. Can I call it a tweet? I'm old. I can call it a tweet.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
I
I'm not going to call it a. What would you call
an
it?
X. I don't even know.
I put out an X earlier. Yeah, it's a tweet. We're sticking with that. I put out a tweet and just said, like, when are we gonna address the elephant in the room? Where do we have to say that our captain is the biggest personnel problem against the kind of the tactical thing that we struggle with the most? Those kind of, those real low blocks or those mid blocks, and finding space and centre access. And I feel really bad because it's not. I wasn't doing it to be like, oh yeah, it's Odegaard's fault and da da da. I just genuinely think we kind of have to look at our squad as a whole and not just like we have a starting 11. I think Declan Rice is really similar in those kind of matches. So against Crystal Palace, I felt like he's not the right person to be picking up those spaces. Like a Miles Lewis-Skelly would be fantastic in those spaces. And I understand when you've got a player that you spent like £100 million on, you have to play him. But could you play him as the 6 in that role and then play Miles in there and be asking them to do different roles depending on, what we're facing? I guess that's something for another time. But I don't know. I just feel at the moment, I just want more. Like, I want more for me watching. I want more for the club because the better he performs, the better we'll perform. And I want better for him because I know it must, whether he is your cup of tea or not, he has been a good captain for the club. He has come in at a point where we haven't been fantastic and he's had to take on that mantle, and taking up the captaincy when he's that kind of personality must be really difficult, especially like we talked about culture before we kind of came on air, didn't we? The British culture is that you need someone who's quite big and is going to shout like a Tony Adams or a Patrick Vieira, or like, we don't look at the quieter kind of personalities as typical captains. Like if you said who's the best captain in the Premier League in history, everyone would probably go Roy Keane. I mean, he is the complete opposite in personality of Roy Keane. But that doesn't make him any less really of a captain. I do think sometimes, like, just for him, like, it would be really nice if he has a big performance down in this next game. And I think, the fans just need to get behind him, regardless of what you think of him.
Yeah.
But that kind of leads us in nicely. Because is he going to be a big part of next season's squad? So, Reece, do you want to talk us through the tier list before we get started?
Yes, so we've got typical tier list here. Obviously, red at the bottom. We had to change that. But this is basically the squad going into next season of players that there's obviously some contract situations here that people probably won't be there. But they're the players that we think could be at the club from now. So there's no like loans with Sterling or any of them, or Neto, and there's no like signings that have come in yet. So this is where we think the players in the squad now are going to impact the team next season. So being a starter, a squad player, which obviously means selected minutes, but I mean, obviously squad player in certain positions I think can be game dependent, but I think that's still fine. And then obviously loan and then sell. I don't think there'll be too many in loan because you just imagine you sell them, but have it there anyway. So makes it look better.
There's one player I'm looking at here. I'm like, I just don't know where to put him. Where do you want to start? Do we just start with goalkeepers and then kind of make our way through the positions, or?
Yeah, I think so. Because I think forwards are the most interesting. So we just leave that to late.
All right, let's go Carl Hine then. I know you mentioned previously, and you said, oh, maybe we keep hold of him. Maybe we don't go in for Juan Garcia. What's it, mooted 20-25 mil for him. It is interesting whether or not we will spend that much money on another goalkeeper. I mean, what is it? That's signing a goalkeeper at every opportunity from Arteta. What do you think? I mean, we know he's not going to be a starter. Is he a player that goes out on loan again? Do we cut our losses with him? Do we keep him as a squad player? What do you
See, I
reckon?
think it's a really interesting situation. I feel like if I'm talking about from the club perspective, I think the club will. I still don't think Garcia is a guarantee, but I think he's more likely than a lot of other players that we're going to sign just from like reports. And I feel like obviously we like the money. I spoke about it. Like I'm not really sure what's going on with the whole party situation. So I think maybe there's less money in different areas. So I do think when it comes down to like Hines specifically, I think they might wait and see. But even that, because Hine can't be a third choice, he needs to go out and play at this point. Um, and I think, well, we said that I think Setford's going to go out on loan. We re-signed Rojas, who makes great TikToks, by the way. I recommend watching them. We've re-signed him, and I think he potentially could go on loan or be like the academy. Obviously, got obviously a lot of goalkeepers down there, so I do think it's just it basically my opinion is Hine good enough to be a backup? Is he good enough to play in the Carabao Cup games? Maybe not against like top 6 sides or top 10 sides, but is he good enough to play against like Ipswich in the cup? And I'm not sure. Like he has played a lot for Real Valladolid, and it's hard to really look at the stats because they're like the worst team defensively in the world. They're so bad. And there's games I've watched. I've watched games where they've lost 7-0, and he's made like 4 or 5 really good saves, but he's also made like 1 or 2 mistakes. But then they're already 5-0 down at the time. So I'm like, well, I kind of give him a little bit of slack there. But he's actually injured for like the rest of the season now. So we're going to see what we're going to get from him. He's been injured for a month. I think it's more likely he probably gets loaned out. And I'd say I think loan is a fair shout as well.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I just thought I'm sure I saw something about his post shot expected goals per shot. And I've just looked it up. So he ranks a 95th percentile over the last 365 days based on the big 5 leagues. So he's kind of it does seem like he's starting to make some progress, and we know goalkeepers kind of hit their peak a lot later. I think for me, I agree. I think it's going to be a loan, and rightly so, really. Um, Garcia is probably the person, which is really interesting because there's reports that Berta has come in and that trail's gone cold. Whether or not that's, them trying to throw off the scent, and we know there's a lot of haggling over that price. Arsenal don't want to pay the price that was quoted, and I think they were right to kind of, stay firm on that. And now they're going to be able to demand that definitely because he's had such a good season. So, yeah, I'm in agreement with you, mate. I think we go for loan. So, yeah, loan for Carl Heim. Is there any debate on this next one, though?
No, we've got a lot. So the
So,
easy
sell David Raya.
we get Garcia in as our number one. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. Yeah, obviously, some of them it's a bit obvious, but Rise. I mean, against Crystal Palace, that was probably the worst game he's had in like since Luton. But let's hope he doesn't have another one of them.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that one of the things I really like about David Raya is his ability to kind of bounce back. When he makes a mistake, he kind of rides that out really, really quickly. We said it on the last podcast, actually. But he's just gone from strength to strength. Originally, there's the whole kind of discussion with, is he the correct decision, getting in instead of Ramsdale? But I don't think anyone's going to dispute that now. He has been absolutely fantastic. Like, his cross-claiming is unbelievable. His ability to start counter-attacks and quick transitions that we kind of struggle in other personnel with. He's obviously very good with his feet. Yeah, but just brilliant. Just brilliant signing. What did we get him for in the end?
30 mil.
That's a good deal, isn't it? With the loan originally as well.
That's how much you should pay for goalkeepers, to be fair. And some teams.
Yeah. Right. Why? Who you angling at there?
I mean, admittedly, Liverpool did spend 60 mil on Alisson, but I think that's fair. But everyone else who spent over 30 mil on their keeper that's been a massive mistake. So I just don't bother.
I know you want to say it, but you're just not going to, are you? Okay. Calafiori. Dear mate, this is an interesting one. He came in, and I think a lot of people, myself included, I thought he was going to start at left back. He'd have that position nailed on. He is really young. People forget it. There's a lot of upside about having Calafiori in your squad, especially as a left centre back and a left back. Can he become a starter again? If Miles starts to move inside in the future or something, or if Miles has a downturn in form, we know like youngsters, we can't expect them to have like an upward trajectory like a Saka. You know, they are going to be kind of up and down, and it's not all linear. Like, could he become a star?
Yeah, I don't know. It's so weird, isn't it? I think he would. I think his whole future at Arsenal is probably in left back. If obviously we are reportedly rumored to want Dean Huijsen, and even then, even if obviously he is 2-footed, but like he can play on the left pretty well. So like, and I'm thinking like, well, Kivior's coming. He's done a decent job. I think we're even signing Huijsen or we're keeping Kivior. And then it's like, well, Calafiori. I don't want Kivior playing left back anymore, and you'd rather have Calafiori there. So I think he's one of them players where, like, dependent on if he's fit, dependent on the game, he'll easily rotate with Miles. And I think you're going to see that a lot with I think fullbacks generally. That's going to be the sort of outcome. But
Yeah.
do I think he's going to play more than Miles next season? I would say no. So I'd put him in squad.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think, yeah, well, what a squad player to have. I just hope he gets, over his injuries and gets
His
some
fitness,
more
yeah.
consistent, more consistent games, really, because he's one of the few players that can cause chaos in our squad. He's got like a unique profile there. So, yeah, it's a good signing. Just hasn't hit the heights that everyone expected, and it is what it is. Jakub Kivior. I mean, you're representing for him. Go for it. You start.
Let's make him a starter, guaranteed.
Let's go. Gabriel out.
To
then
Saudi,
we just
exactly.
selling him then. So Kivior's going up there.
Gabriel to Saudi, Kivior up.
That's like my worst nightmare.
I genuinely think he's going to stay. Like, I think Kivior's going to stay now. I've seen Arteta do this so much. He loves all the players, and they get in one little bit of good form. And now, like, Martinelli's been in good form, and we're talking about buying a winger now. It's like, what's going on? I feel like to buy a left-footed centre-back who's got the passing range of Kivior is just so hard to find. And there is other weaknesses in his game, but he isn't going to be a starter for Arsenal. And I think if he's your backup left centre-back, I think that's fine. I genuinely think that's a fine option. I think as a squad player, I think that's a perfect thing to have. If he leaves, I wouldn't be surprised if he left, but we'd have to get at least 30, 35 mil for him, in my opinion, to even like to consider.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to sell him. I just have a feeling that it's going to be time, and I think the club should make that decision. I think with the Champions League, if we can go even further in the Champions League, that is a big if. But if we got past PSG and into a final, there is no reason we cannot get more than 30 million for Jakub Kivior. He is a left-footed player. He is the left centre back. There are not many, full stop, let alone with the passing range that he does have. And then we'll be able to say, look at the run of games that he's had in the Champions League. He can do it on a continental stage. I think he's perfect for Serie A. I think a lot of players would have to move out of the way from him, even in lower teams in the Premier League. So like a Man United, they're crying for players like this. I'm not saying he'll go to United, but there will be interested in him.
I mean, even like teams like Palace, he'd be so good for. He'd be so good for Palace. Like,
yeah,
I think I've always been a guy that's been like he is actually a great Premier League player. Like, he'd be fine. It's just that obviously we want to win and have that sort of achievement.
Is there a deal to be made with Bournemouth? Get a Dean Huijsen in him. Get 15 million plus Kivior.
Maybe. I remember I I mean, this is the thing. It really depends with Kivior what Berta's like. We don't know what Berta's like from a selling standpoint. He might go
Mm,
rogue and just get rid of everyone, but we might get like 150 off of Gabriel, and he might just be like, "Yeah, that's good. Let's get like we need that money more than we need the player."
mm.
And I think with Kivior, it's one of them players that. Well, I was looking at some of my old tweets the other day, and we were actually linked. I think last summer, maybe it was January. I think it's more the summer to Lookman, and the deal reported was like 40 mil plus Kivior. And I remember I said at the time that like I think that's way too steep for Lookman, and
Yeah.
I still think that's probably quite steep. But maybe like there's going to be specially Serie A teams that want Kivior. If we want a Serie A player, like we could just shovel him in. I'm sure he'll be happy to go to any Serie A team. I mean, he was at Spezia. Like I'm sure he'd be happy
Yeah,
to
that's
go.
true. Yeah, I forgot that as well. He's one that I don't mind him going in either tier out of squad player or sell. Because the pros of him being a squad player is he can play multiple positions. You know, he's played left back, right centre back, now left centre back, his natural position. He's always available. And we don't have many players like that. So if we keep him, I wouldn't be too worried. If we go on a run and we can get like a lot of money from him, it would be really sensible. I don't think there's like a real wrong answer.
Yeah.
I'll let you do the honours. Where do you want to put him?
We'll put him in squad player just because I like. But I do. I think he's one of the only people on this list where you could sell him or keep him, and I don't think people are going to be that upset either way. Like I think people will understand. There's like it's fine in my opinion. So let's go,
It
Kivior.
would be pretty bad as well. You wearing a Poland shirt and then putting him in sell.
Yeah, exactly. Just let's get rid of the Poland
Like,
shirt. We need to sign some more Polish players. That's what we need.
any suggestions? And don't say Lewandowski.
Uh, I used to like Zelensky, but I don't know if he's good anymore. I don't think so. He's a bit old. He's like
Yeah,
30.
he's a bit odd. Yeah.
I
All
used to
right,
like
good.
him.
At least you came up with a name. Good man. Love that. Right,
Matty
Gabriel.
Cash.
Matty.
Let's get him in.
Please, God, no. That makes me think of like a Lichtsteiner or a Cedric move. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh. Do you reckon Berta's got one of them in him? Has he got like a real rogue? Oh, he has, hasn't he?
If we don't get Garcia, it's gonna happen again. We're just gonna go and get some like weird goalkeeper like we do every year.
Yeah, that's true.
We love it.
Right, Gabriel. He's got
Yeah.
to go and starter, hasn't he? I mean,
Yeah.
for me,
Yeah, I think
in
out of
terms
any
of
of the starters, he could. There is a world in which he leaves. Like, but I just don't see it very happen. I don't see him wanting to leave. But if a team came in for like a ridiculous amount of money, I would see that the club would probably want him to leave more than a lot of the other like untouchable players. I think.
I was talking to someone who works at the club. I can't really say what he does there, but essentially, there have been talks about a big player leaving, and then I didn't hear any more than that. When I started thinking about it, I was like, is it Gabriel? Could it be Gabriel? Could it be an Odegaard and a change of system, or like even like I mean, do they classify Martinelli as like a big player?
I think
It's like
probably,
it's
I
interesting,
probably
like
do, yeah.
yeah, but I do. When I started thinking about it, I do have a inkling that could happen for us to be able to kind of progress and make the really big signings that everyone's kind of wanting. Everyone wants this outrageous summer. Maybe we need to do that kind of Liverpool Coutinho.
Yeah,
sell.
I was gonna say that's everyone always mentions the Liverpool Coutinho.
Yeah, like, but
I mean, I just feel like I would. I don't know. I feel like out of any player, I get why the club was. I get from a business standpoint why Gabriel makes a lot of sense compared to some others. But like from an affinity of Gabriel, like that guy is just one of my favorite players. That guy's been with us since 2020. I watched Married to the Game of him and his girlfriend or fiance. They look like a great couple. So I want, and they look so happy here. And so I don't want to ruin that. So he should just stay here anyway. I think I don't know. I think I want Gabriel to win something with us first.
yeah, I'm with you on that.
Before we let him leave.
No, he's such a good player. He's one that he's like you know, when you're looking at the core of a team, he's one of those. He's also one of the players that I would go, he's captain material.
Yeah.
And that's the other problem. You know, he's an obvious leader. So
Mentality wise, he just seems such a beast. Like, and I think that is something that Arsenal have struggled with. Like, in pretty much the whole time I've watched Arsenal, it's been like no mentality, toothless. I don't think Gabriel's not like that. He steps up in the big games, and he's been. I just love him so much. I just think he's such a good player. I'm so happy. Yeah,
mate, I saw the do you see the celebration of the goal in the Champions League in like against Real Madrid? And he's going mad. With all of his family there. There's a little bit right at the end. It was awful to watch. So if you haven't seen it, essentially Gabriel's going crazy, all his family going crazy. And then right at the end, like the last second, you can see just this moment of like, I wish I was on that pitch. And I just felt so bad for the guy because
actually, when he was in the wheelchair at the Emirates, it just like broke my heart because it's like, oh, he should be out there. Like that is like our best player of the season at the end of the day. Like I don't know, it's not going to feel the same. Even if we do win the Champions League, like with him just like not there.
Can he do a John Terry, like, you know, full kitted and let's do that. Yeah, get Big Gabby on there. He'll be right. All right, so yeah, obvious starter. Miles Lewis-Skelly. Like, for me, he's got to be a starter. I mean, the rise he had is insane. It is bonkers how quickly he has not only kind of dealt with the pressure and then gone on to international level, but to pick up a position that he's not even, you know, a natural at playing. It is unreal, the progress he's made. I think he's just shoo-in for starter for me. Gives us so many different options, dropping into midfield, can play as obviously a midfielder, and that I mentioned earlier about him possibly being a left eight. But yeah, no doubt in my mind, he has to be in the starter role. Oh, you there, Reece?
Yeah, sorry, my internet's going out a little bit here. Yeah, I mean, Miles
put him in starter.
Yeah, 100%.
Cool. All right. Yeah, you having a nightmare?
No, I think we're okay now. I was just trying to get fit. I wanted to mention that I saw Doogie Critchley did like a tweet a couple of days ago, and it was like, who is the best rookie of the year? First ever professional game this year, and then he put Miles number one. And I was like, that is actually crazy to think that his first professional game was in like November or like October.
I mean, he's another one mentality wise. Like,
yeah, his interview was great.
You know, like the Vamos to the Real Madrid fans, the celebration in front of the Haaland, and he is just. I mean, he has got to have. He's weighed down. I'm just going to say that he's weighed down in a certain area. That boy, he's unbelievable. Cojones. Right, you're in Timber. Right back. Is he starter? Is he going to be squad player with Ben White?
I think he's a starter. I think he'll play more than Ben White, so I'd say a starter. But we need to, in many ways, he needs to play less next season than he has in this season, especially in the games that are like, I don't know, the games that are like we're playing against like nobodies in the Prem. No offense to some of the crap Prem teams, but like I think we need Ben White to play against low blocks for our team and just for the Ben White generally. And Timber needs to be rested. He can't be playing every 3 days again.
Yeah, he's like, for me, the perfect player for a Big Six game. You know, does that make sense?
Yeah.
He's padlocking players. He's unbelievable. I'm looking at it here. I didn't realise his successful take-ons is actually he's in the top 10 percentile for fullbacks, which is mad.
Well, yeah, like I mean, the thing is with him, like I know everyone talks about the attacking thing, and like when I speak about his attacking problems, it's in context with Arsenal as a team and Ben White in comparison, not like genuinely. Because people say this like, well, he's not bad going forward. He isn't bad. He's got I think he's got 1.9 shot creating actions per 90, which is the same as Benjamin Šeško.
Yeah.
of this season. And it's like I get that, like he is good going forward. He just isn't as good as Ben White, in my opinion. And there's definitely ways he could still improve. But we like expect a lot from our fullbacks. Our fullbacks are like incredibly important. But yeah, I mean, I think he's been one of our best players this season. And considering his ACL injury as well, I mean, I've
Oh,
got to give it to him.
yeah. To recover how he has and then play that amount of games is unbelievable. Looking at his tackles, so in the attacking third, he ranks in the top 3 percentile in Europe's top 5 leagues.
Yeah,
He's just
that
a
pressure.
machine, and it's really nice to go into games against like a Real Madrid or a PSG. Sorry, and I have no concerns whatsoever. And Ben White, that is the one thing that I do worry. We've seen it in the past, like 1-on-1 in wide spaces. Sometimes he can be beaten. Jurriën Timber, you count on your hand how many times he's been beaten. And that's playing against that top level left wingers. So he's an unbelievable player, unbelievable. I think, yeah, I agree. Starter. There'll be more rotation than this year, but I do think he'll be a kind of go-to, especially for
Uh,
big games. Or
we should also sign his brother just because he's good as well. Just
yeah,
get
why
them
not?
all in.
Yeah.
Yeah, even though they've never played for the same club
He'd
together.
be an
But
interesting addition, actually. His profile.
I mean, I think I think his profile would be like actually something we don't have.
Mm.
I think it'd be good, but the two Timber brothers have never played with each other. They always play for rival teams. So he's going United or something.
Oh, yeah,
It's
God.
just like their thing.
I'd hate to see that. Tommy Asu. This is an interesting one. I'll let you go first because I might have different thoughts to you.
Who
I might
loves
not.
Tommy. But he
Oh yeah,
loves
go for it. You've
Tomiyasu.
dropped out there.
He has like 5 Tomiyasu shirts. He has like Tomiyasu memorabilia. He loves Tomiyasu. He's his favorite player. Um, but Tomiyasu might have to leave. But I think if we're talking about the context of next season, he's not going to leave. Like he's not going to go anywhere. Like he's injured. He's still going to be injured. No one's going to buy an injured player who's been injured for years. But if I think about next season, how much is he going to be involved in this team? Then I'm going to say squad player because I still believe he will be okay at some point.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. If he had played a little bit more, it might be time to sell him. The possibility of doing that is slim to none, isn't it? Let's be honest. Who is going to want to play him with his injury record and buy? I don't think, even if a team came in, they wouldn't offer us enough to make it worthwhile either. Because when he is fit, he is so adaptable. He physically, I don't think you realize how big he is. Like he's such a strong player. In one-on-one situations, he's unbelievable. Heading, he's really, really good. So aerially, you don't really have those concerns. Maybe like even a Jakub Kivior coming in when people are pumping balls, it can feel a bit like, is he going to make a mistake or get caught over the shoulder? I don't think you have that with Tomiyasu. The problem is, in the opposite direction, Kivior's always available. Tomiyasu is never available. Yeah, I think he's going to have to be a squad player. But is there a world where we kind of look into a Kieran Tierney type thing and go, right, you can't play, you can't be fit. Let's loan you out. Let's kind of then take stock of your current season or half a season. You can recall him, or you can then sell him at the end of the year, or you can just bring him, at the end of a whole year, then you bring him back and then he slots into a squad player.
There's a
I
world
don't
where
know.
there's definitely a world where, well, he's reported to come back in like December, November.
Mm-hmm.
If like by the end of December he's not really getting game time and he's actually good to go, there's a world where we loan him from January to the end of the season.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, he's out. Yeah.
I'm not sure how long he's got left on his deal, but surely like 18 months to 2 years maybe, because he re-signed in 2023, 2020. I remember him re-signing, but yeah, like when that ends, I feel like he's going to be a player that is just stuck here forever because we can't shift him, and then contract will just end and he'll leave.
We've had that for so many players, haven't we? I mean, yeah, June 2026, it says here on
Oh,
Capology. So time is ticking.
so he might just not even play next season, then just leave like Tierney. He might just like come and play like 20
Were
minutes.
they? I mean, what's he on? I mean, it says here 100 grand a week. I didn't think he was on that much.
Yeah, because he was on like 60, and then he got a
That's
pay increase like when he
yeah.
got his new deal signed.
That's what
But
I thought. I thought he was
when
on
he
about
plays,
60.
he's so good. Like the thing with Tomiyasu is when he plays left back, he's incredible, and he should not be good in left back. He's right footed. He's 6'2". He's big, and he's actually very good at left back. Right, he's very
Mm.
secure there. So I do think if there's a world where he has to be a squad player for 6 months before he leaves on a free, I think he could do it. It'll be all right.
Is it one of those ones where the club kind of go, "I'll retain his value, give him another year," kind of like we've seen with Reece Nelson, those type of players. Possibly
I
a
can't
new. I
see
don't
it
know,
with
but
his injury record. I know Nelson has injuries as well that are poor, but he's also English and he's like and a bit younger. I feel like Prem teams are still going to want to buy Nelson, a bit like Smith
yeah,
Rowe. Like, I mean, we got criticised for selling Smith Rowe, and I remember when we sold him, and I was like, yeah, he played 200 minutes last season. He's doesn't fit our system, and like, and then Fulham fans are like, oh, he's going to be sign of the season. He's just been the same Smith Rowe. He's inconsistent. His physical level isn't there consistently. Like, he is still struggled and has the same issues he did at Arsenal. And I think like you're going to see the same with some of the players as well.
and that's the key. Do they fit the system? Like our our team now has got a very particular way of playing, and I do think we need to change the system for certain game states, but on the whole, you have to be like a certain type of player in a certain position. Um, yeah, he just wasn't the right player for the wing options or midfield options. He just wasn't. Yeah, okay. So we were saying squad player and then may leave on a free at the end of the season.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
All right, Benny Blanco. For me, it's really interesting because I feel like I should put him there with Timber because it's almost like that thing of they're both, I feel like, almost are going to do 50-50. So maybe they both go in squad. But I don't know. I do feel Urin Timber will be the go-to, especially in big games. He will be the player that we look at and think he is the most reliable. Ben White, however, we've seen it with Odegaard. Odegaard's best performance has been when Ben White was in the team. I don't think that's a coincidence. He works incredibly well. They're not picking up the same spaces. His crossing is fantastic. I love his attitude. Like
Yeah.
I love Ben White. Like
Yeah.
the whole thing with the Carver Howell incident with Bukayo Saka, and who's straight there? Benny Blanco. He's in there. Like you can say what you want about how he looks, and the whole the only way is Essex or whatever it
Yeah.
may be, but he's definitely up for it. He's always up for it. Love him. But yeah, for me, and I think it would be sensible coming back from the injury he's had that he is a squad player. But both of them, we need to manage their minutes.
Yeah. The fullbacks are so interesting, I find, because we haven't actually seen like consistent times at all this season, or in fact, the whole time they've been at the club where Calafiori and Miles have been fit together, a couple of weeks
Mm-hmm.
maybe, and Ben White and Timber have really been properly fit because Ben White's even struggling now, like he wasn't in the game against Palace. So we've not seen that yet. So it'd be interesting to see how Arteta diversifies minutes. I know what Arteta's like though, and he is someone that kind of sees how the wing goes, and if someone's on form, he will just keep playing them until they're not on form, and then he won't play them. We see him all the time do it with our left wingers. We see it all the time. He did it when like Kivior, for instance, played left
I was
back
going to say the
last
same,
year
yeah.
low, and then
It
as soon as
just,
he had a poor game against Bayern, and then we never saw him again. So it's literally the whole Arteta system. So I don't know. I think he'll do that as well. I still think Timber will play more, but obviously maybe he'll feel a bit of need to give him a rest more. But Ben White needs to like, hopefully with this preseason, hopefully he can get up to that level where he's a little bit calmer. Because obviously even now you can clearly see he's still struggling.
yeah, I agree. We can't really put them both starter, can we? Leave them like that?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Yeah.
I think that's fine.
Okay. Oh, Zinni. Oh, this is the fullbacks are so interesting. Um, I think it's been interesting as well seeing him actually go into midfield. Like people have been calling for that for a long, long time, and Arteta has just avoided it at all costs. Suddenly this season, he's even played in the in that right half space sometimes, and it's like, why have we been waiting this long for Zinchenko to occupy those positions? Um, his time's up in
Yeah.
terms of a starter. He is not a starter. But do you try and sell him now? I don't. A loan's out of the question, isn't it? Or do you keep him as a squad player, someone that's got experience, someone that's able to play in multiple positions? Seems like a pretty good egg as well. Knows Arteta very well. Right. What do you
I
do?
would say it is time to go. Bye bye, Zinchenko. Get out of here. I am not a very big fan of Zinchenko, just genuinely. I don't think he's. Well, it's so funny because when he first came in, I remember having conversations and being like, you can see the technical level he has is much higher than the rest of the team, and he was so good. But I don't know. He just seems to not only with me, but I think a lot of Arsenal fans have kind of lost reputation and like love for him because of
Mhm.
interviews he's had. He just doesn't seem to really understand self awareness very well, and I think that's very important in understanding the team. And I also think that like he is just we have built a team of absolute brutes. And even our 5'10" players are brutes. Like Timber is not the tallest, I think he's like 6 foot, nor is Miles, but they're brutes. And he is just not. And I think like against Ipswich, you really saw the benefit of him playing. I thought he was really good in that game. But we're not playing like nowadays in the Prem, you don't play many crap teams. You're going to play the 3 promoted teams, and that's it. Like, why
Yeah.
is he here? And we've watched him in midfield this season, and every time I've watched him in midfield, and it's only been a few times, I've hated him there. I just feel like he doesn't get on the ball. He's in the pockets, and we complain about Odegaard not being strong enough or not being good enough sometimes. But Zinchenko's even worse, in my opinion. He just
I
really
will
struggles
counter
to get the
that though.
ball.
Was it against PSV where he played and did he score a goal?
Yeah, he scored in the like
Yeah.
in the
I
fifth
think he had an
minute.
all right
No,
performance in that. I think
I think he was awful in that game, but he scored, so no one really
you're
spoke
so
about it.
harsh.
I, I
I think he wasn't particularly bad. Maybe it's because my expectations were so low of him in that position, but no, I agree. I was looking at his contract, so he's on £150,000 a week base contract, and it expires in June 2026. Now is the
yeah.
time to sell him,
I
Luke.
mean, it's well, we also had a deal agreed in January for Dortmund to get him on loan for 6 months until now, and then we were going to sell him for like 25 mil, and
Yep.
maybe that will have to go down a bit because he's got 1 year left. But he's going to he still retains value in some ways, even though he is a very specific player. And I always think like, what clubs would he benefit at? Probably a Newcastle, maybe a Dortmund because
Mm.
Bundesliga. But I do think that you'd still be able to get good money for him, and I think Arsenal should we should prioritize certain players that are going to make more money than others, I think.
Yeah,
And
yeah, 100%. Problem is as well, teams seem to have in the Premier League anyway pretty good fullbacks now. Like if you
yeah,
go across the teams, it was an area that everyone struggled with a while back. Now it seems to be an area of strength for most teams, and yeah, physically he struggles. He really does. So yeah, I'm in agreement with you. Fabio Vieira. Right, go on. You start on Fabio.
so this one is so interesting because all week I've just been thinking about like with the news that Party is probably going to re-sign. Obviously, we don't know fully, but with that news, I'm thinking like even Arsenal have not got as much money as they said they are, or they decided that they're going to buy in different positions, which obviously I hope is the answer. And I'm hoping, I'm actually, the more we go into the summer, I really hope we sign an attacking midfielder. Ethan
Yep.
Winyeri is the current backup for wing and attacking midfield. And I think everyone can agree that physically he is not there at the moment. He really has struggled recently, I think, to keep the ball in under pressure because of the strength of other teams. And I just think that I don't like Odegaard there. Maybe it will change. I'm still going to do a deep dive into that role a little bit deeper, like in the future. I'm not really too sure what's going to happen right now. But I actually think Arsenal should sign an attacker midfielder. And we all know that Fabio Vieira, unfortunately, isn't strong enough. He's clearly proven he isn't strong enough. He doesn't work hard enough off the ball, in my opinion. His head drops a lot. It's like I just think that unfortunately he will have to leave. But I don't know who would buy him. I don't know how much money we'd get for him. And maybe if you don't get anything, you might have to stay with him. But I think Arsenal should buy an attacking midfielder. And I've actually been doing more research on them. And I think there's actually a few like cheaper options we could definitely get. So unfortunately for Vieira, like I was a player. I mean, my first ever video was when he signed. Like I like Vieira, but it just hasn't really worked out. Hopefully Martinelli doesn't get too sad because that is his best friend. That's got to keep him happy.
Yeah, I'm not worried about Martinelli. I'm at the point where I'm over it. He had his opportunity. He had a few injuries, to be fair to him. But I just look at him, and the only thing for me that he kind of gives the squad is that half space cross. I think he's a player that when Marino came in, I thought, oh, this could be something. At the end of a game, you need a goal. You bring Marino in, you bring Fabio Vieira in, and see if they can link up. I thought that was something that maybe we could use as a weapon. When he went out back on loan to Portugal, for me, that spelled the end. I just don't see how you can let him go out, bring him back in, and it's not. He's not the right fit. Like, he's not the right fit for the team. He's not the right fit for the league. With the system changed, you could argue maybe he is one of our more incisive players. But he doesn't fill me with any confidence whatsoever. And like you say, there's other options in the market. So a player like a Cherky, who might not be personality-wise the right type of player, but for the price available, I have far more confidence in him being able to come onto a pitch and make a difference rather than Fabio Vieira. And that's not like it's not a damning indictment for Vieira. It's just we are talking about a team now that look like we're going to finish second for the third season in a row. We're in the Champions League semi-finals as of right now. We are beyond Fabio Vieira as our number two, like in terms of the 10 position. So and there's a player in here that we'll come on to in a minute. Two players here that I feel can fill that void better than he can.
Yeah, I think the attacking midfield genuinely, because if we are getting Zubimendi, I think we will move more into that in certain games.
Yep.
I think that's such a weird position for us right now because it's not necessarily a priority because we have players, but are them players really good enough right now to win us a league title? Like an Odegaard in an attacking midfield, is he good enough there? Probably not. But then is Winery a good enough backup to come in and facilitate for him? And for months and months and months, I've been like, yeah, I could see Winery stepping up next year. But the more I watch him, I'm like, he's been moved out to the right a lot. I mean, he did come on an attacking midfield, I think, for Odegaard for like 3 minutes against Palace. But I just think that, like, I don't know if the club will trust him either, but I think at 18 years of age to put him in as your maybe backup attacker midfield is still a risky thing to do, considering I don't think Arsenal are going to buy another right winger. We'll probably buy left, someone that can play maybe on the right. But if he is the backup for the right wing, I don't really want him being the backup for the attacking midfield as well. And I know there's obviously player we'll go into in a bit here, but I just think that maybe it's somewhere Arsenal should look into, and not a 25-year-old Fabio Vieira is just not going to do that, unfortunately.
Yeah. This next one, Jorginho, I think it's pretty clear he's leaving. It looks like he's going Flamengo, doesn't it? Pretty good servant to the club, in all honesty. I wasn't enamoured by the signing, I'll put it that way. Another Chelsea player. He's won me over. I love the way he plays the game. And for a player who has to come in real difficult situations a lot of the time, he's been brilliant. Sets the tempo well. He understands the game, understands his limitations as well, and kind of negates the problems that they provide. But he'll be gone, I think, at the end of the year. But all in all, I think he's had a pretty good little tenure at Arsenal.
Yeah, we need to make more signings like that, really, like 10, 11 mil. He came in, was professional, leader, did a job brilliantly. I mean, a lot of the younger players look up to him. I mean, he's done a great job, and now Zubimendi is basically like the younger version of him in
Yeah,
many ways. So
yeah, completely agree. Yep. Mikel Merino, the true heir to Thierry Henry's throne. He is the current king of the Emirates Stadium. Starter.
probably not, unfortunately. I was thinking this. Like, I love Marino. Like, I just think he's just such a. I don't know. I just there's something about him at the moment where he's the. Like, you go through these phases with players every couple of months, and even though obviously they are playing a lot better, but there's just phases. Like, I remember last season, I had this whole phase of like 3 months where I loved Trossard. He's my favorite player. He was coming on. He was just being great. I mean, he scored 17 goals last season. And then I just getting that with Marino at the moment. Like, even when he's not scoring, he's just so good. He's such like against Ipswich yet again in that midfield performance, he was incredible. And I was just like, this guy just is just so good at the moment. Everything he does is just turning to gold. And like when he came in, I think there was a lot of like expectation he was going to start for left centre mid. But I actually think like Arteta never really had that plan. He kind of was supposed to be like a backup midfielder if we have Partey get injured, and Partey hasn't really been
Yeah.
injured this year. So yeah, he's just a backup left centre mid. I think he's also should be a backup striker in many ways next season. I don't think he will be because I think
Mm.
obviously Havertz and obviously if we sign a striker, they'll be in head. But there's definitely options where he's proven he can be capable there, especially if Trossard is going to leave. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just a good player, just a good sign him.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. It's really weird, isn't it? How he's almost played himself into this world where now he could be Arsenal's backup striker. And especially in certain game states, when you need a goal and you're playing against a team that maybe, you need to put in crosses, perfect player. Perfect player now. He's got like, in terms of connection with the ball, he seems to just have a natural. I hate the phrase about ball striking, but he has a natural ability in ball striking. I look at Kai Havertz sometimes, and he seems awkward or not not confident in his own shot. Whereas Mourinho doesn't seem to have that. That goal, that third goal against Real Madrid, is taken so well. It's an unbelievable finish. The position he's got to get his body in to get that shot off, let alone, as well as he did. He seems to have this unbelievable, just natural ability. But yeah, I think he is a squad player. He'll no doubt he can't continue this run of form, and I think it would be a huge mistake because we've done it before with Jesus and then Havertz of not going out and actually addressing the fact that we need a real number 9. Someone who's actually going to lead the line and take the load off Bukayo Saka. That's what we need. And I think it would be very Arsenal of like Edu and Gazidis era, that kind of time of, oh yeah, well, Marino's been playing well, so we'll be fine. We've got Marino and we've got Havertz and Jesus who come back from injury soon, and I think that would be a terrible mistake. So yeah, for me, squad player regardless, but he's really made a good impression on me. He really has.
Yeah, he's been great, and also Martinelli plays much better when Marino's in the team compared to anyone else. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that's a big thing.
Yeah, that is true. Uh Declan Rice. Is there any world that he doesn't start? I mean, I'd like to see him maybe start in different positions, or do you know what I mean, or pick
Yeah.
up different
Well,
areas
I'm
on the
hoping
pitch
with a double
depending.
pivot. I'm hoping in the big games a lot of the time. I'm hoping we press with him in left centre mid. But I'm also hoping there's games where he does sit deeper and we just let like an attacker midfielder or Odegaard create himself. And he kind of sits next to Zubimendi. I'm hoping we go back to that. Maybe a box midfield again with Havertz as well. That did work a bit
Yeah,
for a time, and that we were great in that period when we used that. But I think, yeah, definitely. I think next season he needs to be moved around a little bit. Like some games he just isn't better in left centre mid, and some games he isn't better in DM. I agree with that.
there's a world that I'd love to see Declan Rice holding and just letting Miles and Ethan Winery just let them go, let them
Yeah,
play. Like in just certain games, like you talked about the teams coming up, that would be really interesting. Or in certain League Cup games, that type of thing. It'd be really nice to, give those players an opportunity to go and express themselves. And they've got someone in Declan Rice who's a real calm head and a really good leader. We've said it a few times. It's nice that we have leaders in the squad now. It's something we've missed for a long, long time. And yeah, he really is. He is a proper leader. Proper leader.
I wonder how much he'll play in DM. Like, I think obviously in games, I think off the ball he'll play in DM, but I don't like with Zubimendi. But I can't see him starting many games in DM if Party is going to re-sign. I just feel like that might be over for him in a way, unfortunately, for a lot of people.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. This next one. Okay. Thomas Partey. This week, did it come out yesterday? I think the news kind of broke that it looks like Arsenal are considering a new contract with him. So it'll be a 1-year deal with optional 1-year extension on that. Now, there is a slight rumor that he may have to take a pay cut for this as well. I mean, I genuinely don't know. I have no idea if he is going to be a starter next season, if he's going to be a squad player with a Zubimendi coming in and changing the system slightly, or if he's just gone. Like, I genuinely, I have no idea on this one. Help me out, mate.
Well, if it was my decision, I would. I understand
we
why
know your decision. You're straight in the bin with Partey.
Yeah, I mean, last week you asked me like, would it change his Real Madrid performance? I said no, and now we're re-signing him. What's happened? I mean, so
you're saying it's your fault?
Yeah, clearly. I mean, I think I understand why the club are doing it, and I think it comes down to a recruitment standpoint of them not. I don't think it's coming down to the fact that they've looked at Partey's brilliant season and been like, he is great and undeniable. I think it's more like that we can't get any other DMs in who are going to give his experience, and it's just going to be more difficult to buy someone, so we'll just keep him in. Yeah. If he's still on 200 grand a week or even more, then this is just stupid. Like, that's way too much money for someone that is going to be a backup for Zubimendi. He is different to Zubimendi, so maybe there's certain games you play either one, and his injury record wouldn't concern me as much if he's not starting every game, which he won't be. But there's situations, obviously, off the pitch where, obviously, I'm not happy and a lot of people aren't happy. But even on the pitch, I'm not particularly happy with him every single game. I think there is a clear, there's no, stats to back it up, or I don't know any stats of it. But when I watch Arsenal, sometimes, mostly in the Prem, we do look worse with him on the pitch compared to when he's off it sometimes. And that's a weird thing to say. It's weird to quantify, but this is something that is a thing. And we do sometimes look quite, I don't know, a bit chaotic when we don't need to be. But he is I think he's a very inconsistent player anyway. Other than that great season he had a few years ago, his whole time in the club, inconsistent injuries, performances, even in games, he's very inconsistent. But experience-wise, I think it is something that is very important that he may have to stay, because we have not a lot of senior players within this squad. If Jorginho leaves, we're thinking about getting rid of Zinchenko. I mean, Jesus is still injured. We haven't got much experience. So for that reason, I do think it is warranted him staying, but the wages are a big part of it.
Yeah, I mean, we're in quite a good situation where, considering his injury record as a whole, maybe not this season, but as a whole, the fact that he is kind of an elder statesman, we're in quite a good position, because I don't think there's many teams that will pay him £200,000 a week. And he'll probably be asking for quite a long contract as well. So at least on that standpoint, we can hopefully negotiate a lower wage. If you asked me prior to the season, I would have said Jorginho should be the one staying and Partey being the one to move on, because Jorginho doesn't kind of rely physically, on his physical attributes as much as Partey does. I also look at Jorginho more of a coach than Partey. So like, it's someone that you could probably keep around at the club after, when he leaves, then go, okay, you can do coaching badges here, and then you can, start to become part of the coaching staff. Was Thomas Partey doesn't have that upside to him. At this point right now, with a Zubamendi coming in, that's a natural replacement for Jorginho. I just don't know how we replace Partey, like his profile, let alone his experience. Don't know how we do it. The only way you can do it, because I look at someone like a Baleba, is he someone that you can get in? But he's going to be extortionate in terms of price. The only way I can look at it in terms of on the pitch and getting that experience and getting that kind of, I don't know, physicality, is playing a Declan Rice as a 6 and then getting in I don't know, it's going to be outrageous, but like a Wirtz or someone like that. So Declan Rice becomes that, that destroyer and that player. But yeah, I think he will be a squad player next season. I just have a feeling that Arsenal will go, we can't lose 2 DMs with that kind of experience at this point, and maybe we can haggle in his wages, and then next season, otherwise we have got so much work to do. It's a huge summer for the club, and it means we just postpone that. The other thing is, if you've got an option there, the club could be savvy, and if a team comes in, you extend his contract and then you sell him for, I don't know, 10 million at the end of next year rather than losing him on a free. So you kind of make back what you've paid in wages, or I don't know.
Yeah. Well, the reports are he might get a 2-year deal with a year of opportunity to extension that we will have to obviously trigger. But I don't know, man. Like, it's just I understand the reasonings for it, but I do think it comes through a lot of laziness, because I think the
Yeah.
contract situation is our own fault, or we should have really sorted out before this summer came. And like, I don't think he's an undeniable player that deserves all the backing from the club. Like, I don't
Yeah.
think he is that sort of player that deserves that at the moment. And it's just difficult. And I do think that even just for the footballing reasons, I really struggle to kind of like come to terms with this even happening. But I did think this was definitely a possibility. I mean, we spoke about weeks ago, and I didn't want it to happen, but I knew out of anyone he would be someone that they would probably look to if they couldn't get
Yeah, 100%.
a
Oh,
midfielder in. I don't mind it as much.
so I guess we go squad. That's most likely right now. Maybe we come back to this at the end of the summer. That'd be interesting. Martin Odegaard. Oh, he is the subject right now, isn't he? Oh God, he'll be a starter.
Yeah.
He's Mikel Arteta's voice on that pitch. Whether you like him or not, that is a fact. He leads the press incredibly well. He hasn't had a great season. I wouldn't be surprised. I've said it in the past, if there's some kind of surgery that he has to have in the summer, and we've been holding off. But I just worry next season, if he continues with his form, if he can be a starter. And I also worry about the change in system. If a Zubamendi comes in and he becomes a clear 10, and I know he had that season with, outrageous numbers, I worry if he can play as that true 10. I really do. Maybe he's the player that we look at selling, and we invest that money into a completely different signing. But I just can't see him be an actual squad player. He's most likely going to start, isn't he?
Yeah. I Arteta loves him. And I also think, obviously, like, the pressing is a major thing. Like, his pressing is great, and he's great off the ball. Everyone knows he's great off the ball. But that's not an excuse to keep someone in the team, right? I think there's so many people that just think that is, but no, he needs to be doing better on the ball at this point of our team. But he won't ever leave. The backups from us were Neri and Vieira, and I don't think Arteta trusts either of them to start, and I don't think he should really at the moment. So he's basically got no competition really, and he can just do what he wants.
That's a problem, isn't it? Let's be honest, it is a problem. If Ethan was a couple of years older, think it's hard because it's Champions League, and Arteta does defer to seniority. But I think if Ethan was a couple of years older, there would be a real big kind of conversation of, he could be in that team. He really could be. But
This is
Odegaard
why,
is
like, yeah,
lucky
like
right now.
I mean, this is why it's interesting that position, because Arsenal could go out and buy like a player that's a bit older than Winery. Obviously, they may end up blocking Winery a little bit, but like El
Mm.
Khanous is a good player from
Yep.
Leicester. But like, obviously, he isn't like good enough probably to start for Arsenal all the time. But he showed he has been good enough to start in the Premier League. So is that good enough to be a backup and then come in for big games? Maybe a little bit more than Winery right now. I don't know. It's just a weird situation. Let's see what the club want to do.
Yeah. Oh, this next one, Max Dowman. I just the talent on this kid. He's unreal. We have got to make sure that he stays at the club. We got to make sure. He's unbelievable in every phase. It's crazy. Like if you haven't watched Max Dowman, go and watch him, because I haven't said much about him online because he's so young, and I think it's almost unfair to the kid to put that kind of pressure on him. Everyone knew about Ethan coming through, and then he became like the youngest debutant in the Premier League, and there's a lot of pressure on Ethan. Max Dowman is right up there. Like, I would not be surprised if he is the youngest player to play in the Premier League. He's just he's a prodigy, isn't he? He's unbelievable. Is it too soon to put him in that squad for next season?
I
Do we
think
have to loan him out for experience, or like
I
he's
feel like he won't ever get loaned out. He's one of them
yeah.
players that I just can't see Arsenal doing it. We haven't done it a lot. And I was actually talking to some like people that are like analysts in Italy and stuff about Arsenal's academy. And they were saying that the problem with Arsenal's academy is that everyone in Hell End is basically built to play for Arsenal. And all of these players, when they don't succeed at Arsenal, they really struggle to like get any successful
Mm-hmm.
times away, and that's why you still got like Butler Oladeji still in our team at 22 because he's not been able to get really any success out on loan, and he's just stuck here. And I feel like that is going to be the same with Dowman. I don't think he's going to go anywhere. I can see him definitely playing next season, even if it's in the Carabao Cup. I think he would have played this season at least a couple of minutes if he was allowed to legally. So
Where do you reckon he would play? Because I see our future almost like a diamond in midfield. In this current iteration, does he play in the 10 role? Does he play? I don't know. It's so difficult.
for
you, where would he play in this current? Yeah, this current.
maybe on the
tactic?
right side a bit. It's a bit hard because physically he just easily dominates in the under 18s, even though he's only like 15. And obviously he won't obviously be able to do that in the Prem or like in any competitive game. So it's like, do you want him? You probably don't want him deeper for that. Then you probably
Mm-hmm.
want him more in the 10, I would say. So yeah, maybe it depends who we play against as well. I guess if we're playing like Bolton in the Carabao Cup, I could see them just being like, yeah, ball out, go and play 10. And see what you do. But he is really good on wide areas, much more than Winery, much more. Like Winery has been pretty successful at in this season, but it's still not his strength. He's much better within the space in the centre. And I actually think Max Dowman is good, but in them areas, but I think he's actually better out wide. So maybe he does move a bit into that.
It's such a good talent. Such a good talent. I think he will be in with the under 21s, and then he'll be in with the first team and training with them, and he'll make an appearance. And it will be one of those where they start feeding him in. He won't be like a true squad player per se, but we haven't really got anywhere else to put him, have we? Let's be honest.
No.
Okay, Ethan, squad player for me.
Yeah. Still
I don't
think
know.
he's a a little bit far away from starting. I think maybe towards the end of next season, if he physically improves a lot, he could definitely rival Odegaard. But like we said, that attacking midfield position is just weird. Like if we might sign someone ahead of him, then it makes it harder. He's
Yeah.
still the right wing backup if Saka gets injured, and with I mean, if we sign like a Nico Williams, we can easily play Williams on the right and Marte on the left. So that would probably be our go-to if we were to sign someone like that. But he will probably still get minutes on the right wing as well.
And
Even though
again,
I don't really like him on the right wing, but
do you know?
not really. I don't know. I like some games I do. And when he came in, I was like, oh yeah, he looks great. And then the more I watch him now, I just think people have kind of sussed out what he wants to do all the time. And I just think the problem is he's just not strong enough for just in tight areas. But I do think when he's in space in central areas, he's so much more effective. Like I think when he builds up as well.
It's so hard to stop him, which is crazy for someone his age. But it's so difficult to stop him from doing what he wants to do. Like he's got that shot on lock. It's unbelievable. But he kind of, like he shuffles almost across into those central zones. It's really interesting to watch him move. But yeah, he's far too good in terms of alone. I think sometimes you loan players out when you like a Fabio Vieira is a perfect example where you go, we don't really trust you. We don't think your ceiling is that high. Whereas I think an Ethan Winery and a Max Down, when you look and you say their ceilings are so high, we cannot afford to loan them out. We want them in and around the squad at all times. So, yeah, I think, squad player for him. Kai Havertz, though. Now,
This
some
one's
people.
hard.
We both of us just did this then. Go on, tell me what you think.
Like it's weird with him because like everything points to him being a squad player next season, given who we're linked to, given what we probably think who we're gonna buy. But Arteta just loves him, and
Yeah.
Arteta finds a way to get Havertz in this team no matter what. And I think there's warranted reasons for that. I think he is. I think we're much better when he's in the team when he's out of it. And I think there's a world next season where we sign a striker and you see the striker play alongside Havertz a lot. But then in order for that to happen, you have to have some reshuffling. Like that midfield of Rice being left centre mid can't happen. He has to be deeper, but then why is Zubimendi there? Maybe we just don't play Odegaard and it's Zubimendi, Rice, and then Havertz as a box formation with a new striker. There's definitely a world that happen. The pressing would be a bit iffy without Odegaard, to be fair. But Havertz is equally very good presser.
Yeah, he surprised me. Like he can lead the press, which is really interesting. You look at when Odegaard was out, and he was picking up those right spaces quite a lot. I mean, at the same time, he was completely avoiding the box, which wasn't very helpful. But it'll make a difference if we do get in a 9. I think he has to be a squad player. For us to continue to progress and move forward, he has to be a squad player. But he is similar to like a Ben White in terms of I think there's going to be times that he does start, whether that is a midfielder up front. I just have a feeling he won't be like a squad player like a Kivior that way. He's going to be someone that's in and out of the team quite a bit. And
I guess it depends who we buy. Like, if we buy a Benjamin Šeško, I could see Havertz still being the starter. But if we sign like a Gyökeres, then yeah, he probably will be more of a squad player. I think in some games Arsenal might play a bit of a 4-4-2 as well, where he can play up front with the striker. So that would be really interesting. But he's a very versatile player. Like I think we've kind of figured out how to make him work in midfield. Not brilliantly, but he's much better there. He was this season, and he's decent up front as well. Like.
Yeah, and I know against Villa when we lost that game, and it was horrendous, and he played in midfield. But I don't think the idea behind that, it wasn't flawed. There were times where he was getting on beyond, and it could have been a different game completely if he took his chance. I think that was Kai Havertz down to a T though, but yeah, there will be opportunities for him in those spaces, and Yeah, maybe that's an opportunity to rest a Declan Rice and not have him playing every single game, or play him as a 6 and then Zubimendi comes out if he's here or whatever it may be. It'd be really interesting to see what happens with Kai. And it'll be interesting to see, does he come back into the fold before the end of the season and then he gets a proper pre-season? Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But he'll be in and about, I think, squad player. So.
It's kind of crazy that he's our most highest waged player, and we're like, yeah, he'll just be like round the squad somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, he won't be
I mean,
soon
he
because I
should
think Saka's
never
big
have
deal,
been
but
on that wage, though.
that's just how much it costs to buy from other Prem teams. We should just stop buying from Prem teams unless they get relegated.
Yeah, unless if it's like an Isaac, I'm all for that. But,
Wow.
but the funny thing is, like if I was buying an Isaac and we didn't have Kai Havertz, I would be saying that's the amount of money that we should be paying him. But now, because we've got Havertz there, you're looking at 300, 350. It's crazy, really. But that's something that we have to deal with. Whereas this next player, Gabby Jesus, so he's out for forever.
Yeah, it's December, I think.
Yeah, we can't sell him.
He's not even like a squad player though. Like I just think he's not gonna. Like the thing is, we're saying like when they come back from their injuries, I could potentially see in some defensive injuries and Tomiyasu getting game time. Like I could still see Tomiyasu coming in for 6 months and getting like 10 games, maybe like Tierney minutes, like he's got this season. If we've bought a new striker, we've got a new striker, we've got Havertz, we've got Marino. You would probably expect Jesus been ahead of Marino, but maybe not given his injury. Like he's never gonna play. Like he's gonna be like 4th choice striker, and he can play on the wing. But if we buy a winger, he's going to be further down.
He's going to drop there again.
Yeah, like he's going to be nowhere near the team.
I mean, the silver lining here for a player who's on 265 grand a week, is that you could play him in the League Cup.
Wow.
During second half of the season, if we're still in it, or I mean. A game like the PSV game that just did not matter. He still of a very good standard when he is fit. He's not the player that we saw prior to the World Cup and that injury, but
yeah, I mean, what I will say is that he is Brazilian, and last summer before he tore his ACL, he was probably going to go to Palmeiras in January when their season started, but in the end, obviously, he got injured. They ended up buying Vitor Roque from Real Betis / Barca. I don't know which one it was at. So, obviously, that's probably off the table. But with the fact that Brazilian teams are getting more money for selling youngsters, I mean, there's been loads of youngsters linked recently, especially in them countries like 30 to 40 mil again, with release clauses. There's a world where he comes back in December and can leave in January to go to Brazil, and maybe would sell him at a cut price deal to get rid of the wages. So I think that's possible. I'll put him in sold for that because that counts as next season.
Yeah, I feel like regardless, he's not going to be a proper squad player, is he? Let's be honest. He's going to be here.
I'll be surprised if he has over like 200 minutes, to be honest.
He has a contract into 2027. So I think next year will be a case of trying to get him out of the club as soon as he's fit and bye to him. But the fact of the matter is, he alongside Zinchenko, those two were, and people are going to kill me for this, they are part of the process and that phase of the club. Like that, they were brought in as good experience players that can play a certain system and get us to move up the table. That's what they were brought in for. I don't think they were brought in as the final pieces per se, and they've helped. Like regardless, they have played their part. And I know some people. This will be interesting. What are your views on in terms of those two players and the transfers, in terms of the transfer fees paid for them? Are they value for money? I know they've had injuries, but
I think. I think given where the club was at, where we bought them, and where we are now, like I think as much as they have been injured, it hasn't been clean. I do think there's a certain, like, even off the pitch, there's a certain, like, level that these Premier League winners brought. And they were massive coops when we got them. I remember doing reports like 3 months before we signed Jesus about what strikers should we get. And I was telling everyone we should get Jesus. And they were like, Jesus won't go to Arsenal. You're like not in the Champions League. And I was like, I don't know. If we could get Jesus, that would be the best striker on the market. And just that level, if he just wasn't injured, he is still a great player. It just is unfortunate. Like with Zinchenko, it's just like, what, we spent 30 mil on him, 25, 30 mil.
Yeah, I think
And he's been like,
30,
and I think, to
35.
be honest, he has brought that back. I think we're gonna be able to sell him for 20 mil, in my opinion. That's most of our money back, and I think he has brought that level. Jesus is difficult because of the injuries, but I don't know. It's not really like our fault, I'd say, in that way.
And the other thing is, you mentioned it earlier about buying from Premier League teams. If you're buying players from City, I mean, you're going to have to spend pretty good money to get them across. And if you spoke to Pep about mistakes in terms of transfers, he would probably say that those two transfers were a mistake because he ended up putting them into a team they didn't see as a rival at the time that ended up becoming one. You know, we did push them close. I know we didn't get over the line, but we did push them close. And that's no small part from those two players. They've done all right. They've done pretty good. Right, Martinelli. Oh, he's really interesting because do you remember when Arteta first came in? It seemed like he wasn't keen on Martinelli. He came out of the team for quite a long time, and I think he had an injury and then didn't play. Emile Smith-Rowe played quite a bit on the left-hand side. We had Trossard, who had a long run in the team. He's had injuries and things. Right now, he seems to be playing a lot better. Since that Chelsea game, he's been fantastic. He's had more chances created over those past 5 games, or he's equaled. I think he's equaled the amount of chances over the last 5 and 6 games as he did in the last 15. So he's been in an upturn of form, but can he really start next season?
I don't know. So I think some games he should, but I don't think he should be the go-to at all. Like, I don't know. I think he's got clear weaknesses, and I still think he's good, but this like month or and a half of form doesn't like make me forget about the 18 months where he was pretty poor. Like, there's a long time where I've only made 3 videos about him ever, and that, in my opinion, is like a damning rendition of you not playing great. Um, but like, and I just think, I don't know. He's a weird player, but to me, he's a good player, good squad player. Like, I know people compare him all the time to Neto or Garnacho. Like, in many ways, they are very similar players. Dribble heavy players. They like shooting, not the best finishers, but can score a worldie. Sort of all have the same sort of traits in them ways. And it's unfortunate because Martinelli has hit the heights that none of them have hit and scored 16 goals in that Prem season. That just seems so far away right now to what's happening. And we need more, especially in them positions. I mean, Trossard last season, like, over double outscored him nearly, I think, over. And it's just like, you shouldn't really be letting that happen when you're basically the better player. So I think for Martinelli, like we said, like, if any big player is going to leave, I think they consider Martinelli as a big player. I think they'll probably get rid of him because we only spent 6 mil on him. It's net profit, I think. That's something they will think about. And if they are considering buying a left winger, they'll probably just keep Trossard for an extra year and then maybe buy another one in the summer next year when he leaves. So maybe that's a consideration as well. Martinelli's a difficult player because I think his work rate alone makes him enough, in my opinion, to stay.
Unbelievable work rate. Yeah.
Yeah, that enough to me is like, you should stay in within this club, and he always wants to stay. He's always said he loves the club, never wants to leave. So maybe keep him, but I don't know if he should be a star. I think he's going to be a squad player.
Yeah, I think his age is a big consideration as well. When you're looking both, you can't get rid of both him and Trossard. But the age alone makes it worthwhile keeping him over Trossard. It's really interesting that they're such different profiles, but neither are what we really need and what the club asks for as a touchline winger. I think there's much more upside to Martinelli, especially as a squad player. So I'm going to put him in there. as a squad player, the Real Madrid game was a perfect example in transition, a player that can play that way. We saw it against Chelsea. Do you remember the goal that he scored against Chelsea when he broke away? I think it was Kante slipped, did he? But
Yeah.
that's the perfect game state for him. Bring him on, fresh legs in a game like that. Perfect. But I just feel that we need to move on in the starting berth. He's in a similar situation to Kai Havertz, where you go, yeah, maybe he'll be there, but we don't really know because we don't know what Berta's going to do. So for me, I think he goes in squad player.
Yep.
In that case, Trossard, is he sold? Is he staying?
I don't know. I just think he is good, but not excellent. He's old, not young. And if we're going to buy a winger, what's the point of having 3 people that play on the left? Trossard can play up front, but if we sign a striker, he's going to be like 6th option. And he can't play on the right. So I think it's over for him.
Yeah, I agree. I like him in the central zones. I really do. I like his attitude as well. He's someone that can pop up, and he's definitely got self-belief. He's not to me, he's not a form player. He's not a player like Martinelli. To me, seems like a real form player. You've got to have him on that streak and play him a lot. And whereas Trossard, I think you can drop him into the team and take him back out of the team. I don't think that matters too much. So maybe in that respect, he's a better squad player. But yeah, I just think it's time to go. Hopefully we can get some good money for him. He was a really good buy because I think Mudryk would have actually been a lot better of a signing at Arsenal than he has been for Chelsea. But considering the situation and the price, he's been a great signing. Great signing.
Yeah, I think, I mean, in a way, he's arguably like the opposite of Martinelli. I think he isn't a form player, but when you play him too much, he's awful. Like, I feel like when he doesn't play that much, he's better. But yeah, his attitude, I think, is really good. I know a lot of people will be like, oh, he's a bit moody. He's a bit of a moaner, but I like it. He believes in himself and wants to play. But he's got a year left on his deal. So if you don't get like 20 mil or 10, 15 mil for him this summer, he's not on the biggest wages in the world. You probably could tell him to stay, but I don't know if we want to be stacking the squad like that, but I wouldn't really mind it.
Yeah, happy with that. Okay, world beater, Bukayo Saka. There's no debate about this, let's be honest, is there?
No, he's got his new contract as well.
Yeah,
hopefully.
Multiple positions, if you really wanted to, but he is in the top 3 right wingers in the world for me. I switch around the order depending on the day and what you want from your right winger. But he is he's so good.
He's the best all-round winger in the world, I think, genuinely. Like, I just don't think even anyone on the left has everything that he can do. It's just, we don't even matter how we play as a system or how we play as a team. He's just going to be great. He's good at everything.
And he's the face of the club. He's the face of the project. We haven't had, I'm trying to think now, we had a player since Henry that's really been the face of the club, like Bukayo Saka. I think Fabregas, to a certain extent, was, but on a worldwide stage right now, I think after that Real Madrid performance, Bukayo Saka is that kind of people looking at, Arsenal. Whereas we haven't really got that in any other player. He is the face of the club. He's the face of a generation. You look at the players from Hell End coming through now, they must all look up to him and think that is the standard bearer of Hell End, let alone the club itself. He's unbelievable. We're so lucky. We are so lucky we've got him at the club because he's just fantastic. And look at the way he's come back from that injury. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke to come back and perform at the standard he has. It's unparalleled. It really is. And finally, we have got Reece Nelson. Go for it, mate. He's your namesake. Oh, are you
That's
there,
me.
Reece? Sorry, you
Hello.
dropped out there, mate.
Fuck.
Reece Nelson.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm lagging, I think, but I think Reece Nelson's back now. He should be with the club, I think, because I mean, I don't see why he'd still be at Fulham if he's injured. I've never really been a fan of Reece Nelson. That seems quite harsh, but I mean, I'm very critical. I think, especially of our academy players compared to a lot of people. I don't really get into that whole lovey thing where I like, oh, you're our academy and I want you to play. Like, I just think I've always had the opinion of like players that are just not good enough that they should be gone. And like, is Nelson better than probably what Sterling is? Yes. Yeah. I think at the start of the season when we signed Sterling, I went, oh, he's better than Nelson. Obviously, watching him, he's clearly not. But even then, his injury record's poor. He's I don't even know what he's like really great at. Like he's a good dribbler. He's like an okay finisher. Like he's quite quick. Like he's good at. He's just like a well-rounded player, but he's not like specifically amazing at anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I especially don't think he really fits like how we play against low blocks in many ways a lot of the time. So I just don't know. But we definitely need someone on that right to play there. That might have to be Winery. But then I mean, I wouldn't hate Nelson being there, but I think he's on a decent amount of wages as well because we re-signed him. So maybe just
Yeah, I
sell
think
him.
he is actually. Let me have a little look.
Because if he's on like 80K plus, like I'm thinking we just get rid of him. But if he's like, yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one because it kind of depends on a lot of things. But
So he's on £100 a week. Yeah.
yeah, I think that's way too much for someone not to play, in my opinion.
Oh,
That's all.
although it says here. Hang on. Oh, maybe it's because of the Fulham thing. It says here his contract runs out June 30th, 2025 on Capology, which is interesting. I'll have a little look at that.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, it's just a weird one. Like,
I
especially
thought
when he went
he,
on loan to Fulham as well. It's like I don't think we rate him anymore.
yeah, exactly. He has to go. It's a real shame because I remember when he was in the academy, and he was the gem. He was the player that the jewel in the crown that everyone wanted. I can remember him scoring some brilliant free kicks. He had like quite a lot of flair on the ball and had a lot of confidence. And when he came into the first team, for me anyway, he really disappointed. He didn't play with conviction, didn't try to beat his man and play the same kind of game. And it's difficult. You see these players that play in a completely different setting. They come to the first team football, and it's so difficult. It's such a big jump up. And then it's really interesting, isn't it? Because you look at under 21 and under 18 football, it's such a chasm compared to the Premier League. There's no real in between thing. I know, like certain leagues have their B teams type of thing, and it's a slightly different system. But yeah, I think unfortunately he just hasn't hit the heights that Hellend expected, and he's run his course. He'll have to leave the club, and that's not a bad thing. He's making a good career for himself. He's a Premier League footballer. It's that is not something to be shouted at, but yeah, he'll be leaving the club.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to see if we actually get like I expect us to sign a winger, but it'd be interesting to see if we sign someone that primarily plays on that right. Because is the plan actually to have Winery as a backup who is like still like the attacking midfield backup? Maybe, but I don't know. He's not really a right winger, so it's just a bit of a weird situation.
So, I mean, looking at this right now, if you're looking at the starters, nailed on. Oh, we haven't got William Saliba.
Oh.
Reece, what's happened here? We haven't got William Saliba. So I'm gonna add William Saliba in there. Somehow he's there somehow. So we're kind of happy with our back four, our goalkeeper. Interestingly, neither of us are like overly confident about Odegaard in our midfield, but we know he's going to play there. That's not a concern. But looking at the rest of the team, so we think we need another midfielder for the starter, probably Zubimendi, we're guessing.
Yeah.
Maybe that's presumptuous, but and then a left winger and a striker from the looks of things.
Yeah. I mean, we've got the amount of starters on there, and I think the other players will be filled in with positions. It's actually quite good as well because I do think Arsenal need more, not like less, but I feel like we need to be a bit careful with nailed on players. We just need more of an option in certain aspects. I think our fullbacks are a great example of that. If we can get that around the whole pitch, then we'll be great.
Are there any holes that you're looking at there going, Like, because I'm looking at squad right now, and I haven't done it this way, which is really interesting. I kind of wrote down what I thought we needed, but now looking at it with the outgoings, we are going to need a keeper if Hein goes out on loan, which we suspect he probably will. I look at left back, and I do worry now because Kivior is staying. Calafiori's quite often not fit. Tomiyasu's not going to be fit for the first half of the year. That is it in terms of options, which is a bit of a worry. We talked about Dorgu, didn't we, and said that might be someone. Was it the Kuiper that you said?
Yeah, Juve want him now, so because they're gonna sell Cambiasso to Man City, and then they're gonna buy him.
So, I mean, I'd love Kirkes. That'd be an interesting buy. It's not going to happen, but I love that. So maybe like a left back is something like an addition that we need to look at.
Yeah, I feel like centre back is more likely when you look at stuff like this. Like that's probably why they want Huijsen. I feel like I don't know. I mean, I don't mind it. Like we need the depth. We definitely need depth. Saliba and Gabriel can't play like 4,000 minutes every year, but I don't know. Yeah, it does. You realize how many like holes there is in the squad. Like not maybe the first team, but the squad there is like a lot we need to improve.
Yeah, there's a lot of like proper youth there as well. You're looking at Miles. I mean, Max isn't even a true squad member like that. Ethan. Yeah, it's lower numbers. It's low in consistency in terms of appearances as well, and availability. So it'll be interesting. It will be a really, really interesting summer. Mate, what are we on now? What kind of time have we been going on? I don't know now. 1 hour 30 minutes we've been going. We're nattering on. Oh, how do you feel about next season after looking at that?
I'm more concerned, if anything. Nah, not looking at that to make me concerned, but like I don't know. All the reports this week have made me a little bit concerned, just a little bit of like, what are we actually doing? Is Berta actually thinking about the actual system more than I like this player, let's get him in? Like I don't know. I'm wary of giving him too much power straight away. I would say.
Yeah. I've been really, what's the word? Mixed. That's it. That's not the word I'm looking for. But yeah, just mixed emotions about the whole transfer and contract renewal and things like that. Because it's great having names like Gyökeres. He's not my first choice, but it's nice to be in that conversation. And previously, we haven't been in those conversations, or they've been. When we have been linked to these players, it hasn't felt like it's a genuine link, or whereas now it does. Berta seems like someone that might just say, right, we're spending 90 million euros on this random player,
and he's gonna tell everyone about it. No smoke screens anymore. Like we are getting this player. But this is the thing. I feel like most of the things we hear is like not necessarily how Arsenal are going to go the direction, but I think it's like legitimate things that they're thinking about. I can't really see many players coming out being Arsenal being like, "Nah, we're not interested in him at all." Like I think, like Huijsen, I definitely think we're looking at him and being like, "Could we get him? Could we convince him?" And it's It's so weird. I don't know. The whole summer's going to be weird for every single top 6 team. I expect to spend like 200 mil. It's going to be crazy.
It is. It's going to be a mad summer, but we will be covering it every single week. Thank you, as always, Wockles, for coming on, mate. What are we doing next week? Next week, I presume we'll be covering the PSG win. Let's be honest.
Stress all again. Oh.
We'll be back. Yes. It's going to be fine, mate. It'll be fine. Absolutely fine. Prediction for it?
2-0 Arsenal.
Ooh, I was going to go for 2-0 as well. I genuinely think...
It's because it was the score last time. I just copied it.
Yeah. I didn't think that. That's just, yeah. I have a feeling that we'll just turn up and I don't know, looking at the previous teams, we said it previously, everyone's saying about the changes in PSG and the signings they've made and blah blah. Look at the team that we put out. It's not our best team. It's not our current team. I know we're missing Party, but the Ipswich game itself made me feel a bit more comfortable in that and confident in that.
If Marino is fit, we just need him to be fit. I think. I even think.
How funny is that we're saying we need Marino to be fit? Imagine saying that at Christmas.
It's as simple as the Arteta ways. Last season with Havertz, but I think if we draw the home game, I still would give us a chance in Paris, like compared to like going to Madrid or something.
Yeah, 100%.
And also the final is on my birthday.
Birthday present,
which I didn't even realise until the other day, and I was like, oh no.
Oh my god. What a birthday that's going to be. Lifting big ears. Oh. It's coming. It's coming. I've got every confidence in this one. Next week, it will be exactly the same time. We will be out. Yeah, just chatting about the PSG. I almost said Real Madrid. Chatting about PSG. Chatting about some more Arsenal waffle. Please go like and subscribe on Wockles' YouTube channel. Make sure you go and subscribe below and like this video. And we will see you next week.